find customers first before building, and we've discussed that already. The second one is that's something we haven't discussed yet, is founders and innovators. You don't have plans, like don't make a business plan. What you need to do is identify your assumptions, identify the riskiest assumption, then test that, then move to the next riskiest, right? So test assumptions. That's how that's essentially how you want to de-risk, right? Later on, pag mga 1 year, 2 years, 3 years old na yung business mo, then you can make plans because you have historical data.
How I'm inspired
in Australia.
We are a community who support and help each other.
Hey, I'm Martin. This is Entrepreneur Beach Club Philippines, a community of entrepreneurs, business owners, startups, aspiring entrepreneurs, freelancers, and digital nomads, where we help connect, inspire, influence, guide, collaborate, motivate, learn, and at the same time, have fun with fellow like-minded people and build meaningful relationships. Welcome to our show. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing for more videos like this. In this episode, I'm going to talk about idea validation and design thinking together with our guest, Mr. Carlo Valencia, who is the founder and facilitator at Startup PH Training. Enjoy the show.
Early 2000s, I was the product of the call center industry. So I was taking calls. Actually, that's where I met my wife.
Yeah, Miss Mai Valencia is also here.
Yes.
Mr. Carlos wife.
Hello, Miss Mai Valencia. So I did all the way till 2013. Just as a background as well, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. When I got into the call center industry, I told myself na kung ano yung gagawin ko dito or anong matututunan ko dito, I can use this to start my own business later in the future. So 2013, they actually redundated me, so they took me out. I actually volunteered to be taken out because they paid me to resign, so great.
Seed money.
And then I used that money to start a business, first doing web development, websites, because mayabang ako eh. Nakita ko sa WordPress, sabi, build websites without learning how to code. So ang ginawa ko, first thing I did was naghanap ako ng mga kaibigan na naghahanap ng magpapagawa ng website. So I did that. First project, $60,000, $10,000 per month. And then we'll build the website. So they said yes. 2 weeks into the project, that's when I realized the hard truth na hindi ko kaya mag-self-teach ng WordPress. So I hired somebody else to build the website. So na-outsource ko siya. And then, so that business was, I guess, pwede na, but not enough to sustain me. And then I was quickly running out of money. Fortunately, that web development business turned into a startup called Classical because one of my clients was a swimming school and they need automated enrollment for swimming. Sorry, una nagpapagawa ng website. And then I said, sige sir, 75,000 dalawang website. And then sabi niya, bigyan mo ako mas magandang deal. So I went home and I thought about it and I realized, I can automate their enrollment using a WordPress plugin. So I did that. I went back to him the following day and I said, sir, I'm not going to give you a discount. I'm going to give you a new feature, which is automated enrollment. I won't add extra fee as well, but I will charge the parents and the students a little extra if they use my product. So pumayag siya, and it was great. I thought it was a great opportunity. I wanted to concentrate on that. So rather than look for more web development clients, what I decided to do was raise funds because this was happening in June or July and they needed to last until next summer. So between 2014 and 2016, that I raised $9 million, built a team, built a platform, the whole startup fundraising and that whole thing. And that's my claim to fame. My claim to shame is we didn't make any money. So I made all the mistakes a first-time founder normally makes. And so in 2016, I left. I gave it to my co-founder, who was the head of marketing then. And then on my way out, a lot of people were asking me, Carlo, paano mo ginawa yan? Carlo, tulungan mo akong mag-fundraise. So I sit down with them, I have coffee with them, or we're on the phone. And then one thing that stood out to me was all of them that were asking to help on how to fundraise, what they actually needed was customers.
Mm.
So I ended up teaching them how to find customers.
Yeah.
So that was how I transitioned into freelance training. Initially, I started a group called Startup PH Mentorship because I thought what founders needed was access to mentors. So I did my own validation, practice what I preach, and I didn't want to make the same mistakes I did the first time.
Yeah.
And then that led me to realize, you know what? It's not mentorship that they need. It's training. It's basic training. Because when you're an entrepreneur, when you're a startup founder, you need to unlearn a lot of these things that were taught to you in school or in corporate. Right? You need to be able to test things right away, to fail fast, and that's one of my biggest advocacy. You need to also really understand who your customer is and what their problems are. Also known as who's gonna pay you and why will they give you money. People don't give away money just because, right?
Yeah.
When you pay someone, there's an exchange. Unfortunately, a lot of people right now getting into entrepreneurship don't fully appreciate that. So that's the core of what I teach. So in 2016 up to now, I've done a lot of freelancing training kind of work. I do corporate training as well. I do public workshops.
So you go on site and visit and give your training.
Yes.
So do you have like online courses?
Not yet, but thank you for asking. That's something we're about to build.
It's the future.
Yeah, that's the path we're going. Right now I have public workshops, so pa-plug ko lang.
Sure.
May 25 is the next workshop. So we have a workshop next week on Saturday, April 27. That's full. May 25 is the next one. It's called Design Thinking and Lean for Startup Founders, Techies, and Creatives.
Yes.
Essentially, design thinking is the mindset that all innovators, if you want to create something new, you want to start with the customer or the user, with the people. You want to start with the people, figure out what they want, what they need, what their problems are, and then that's when you build whatever it is that you think they need based on your understanding of them. Very oftentimes people, me myself included, it's innate in you.
Yeah.
You want to build things, you want to solve things.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't really, you forget to figure out, sino ba talaga yung gagamit nito?
Yeah.
Diba? So design thinking, so I teach a little bit of design thinking about that mindset. I teach about the lean canvas, which is essentially a one-page business plan. I teach them as well how to design an experiment and then how to get to know people. So designing an experiment is because when you're building a business or when you're building a startup, that whole thing is an experiment. You have an assumption, which is if I build X or offer X, then they will buy it.
Yeah.
But how do you test that without finishing all your money, right?
Yeah.
So there are ways and techniques that you can do that very easily, very cheaply.
Without spending a lot of millions.
Yes,
That's really
time and money is the most important
It's
resource.
very helpful. Yes.
Correct.
So your target market for these courses are like startups, right?
First-time founders,
Yeah.
or kahit na hindi ka
Freelancer.
first-time founder,
You
pero
still want to
Yeah.
learn the ropes.
Yeah.
On a new niche market.
Correct.
Yeah.
also I noticed actually the successful entrepreneurs, it's very instinctive in them. Gusto nila agad maintindihan sino ba yung bibili niyan.
Yeah.
At magkano ba, right? And testingin muna natin bago na tayo mag-major investment.
Calculated,
Yeah. So it's very natural in them. Unfortunately, for the vast majority of us, hindi tayo Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg
Yeah.
or, di ba, all these
Elon
other,
Musk.
right? Elon Musk. We're not them.
Yeah.
We're regular folks, and we have our own biases. So that's who I want to teach. Is the regular folks that want to get into entrepreneurship, that want to hopefully succeed and have a better chance of succeeding. There's a 96% fail rate for entrepreneurship. 96% fail rate for businesses,
Oh.
which means everybody's gonna fail at some point.
That's huge. 96.
Yeah.
Yeah.
96% is huge.
Right? So like, kumbaga, the official statistic is 96% of registered businesses close within the first 5 years.
Oh.
There are all these other startups that actually didn't register that failed. Hindi man lang sila umabot sa
Yeah.
registration.
So that's,
My vision is to make that number lower. Mababa ko lang 90% yon, then that's a vision fulfilled. Right? And
That's the goal.
yeah,
for it,
and I can do that by essentially spreading that whole design thinking, lean startup, and
So
taking
that's
an
your
experiment.
advocacy, like helping business
Absolutely, yeah.
founders make it towards success.
Fail fast, fail fast to succeed faster.
Yes.
Yes.
Since we're on the subject of succeeding, you mentioned a while ago about first-time founder mistakes. Like, can you give us a short overview of what are the typical ones?
Sure. I'll give you my mistake,
Yeah,
which is
sure.
typical of a lot of people. Alam ko na, meron akong app idea. I'm gonna build a platform. It's going to do everything. Di ba? Kailangan ko lang ng investor at saka ng developer. Right? If I can build the app, I'm gonna be rich. First time founder mistake. Everybody goes through that. Or, Carla, tulungan mo naman ako mag-fundraise. Bakit? May customer ka na? Wala pa. Huwag ka muna mag-fundraise. Fundraising is done if you're making $1 million a month and you want to do $100 million a month, then you fundraise. But if you're doing zero,
You have no
So that's
value
not
to
a
your
good idea,
investors.
because a lot of bad things happen when you fundraise and you don't have revenue and customers yet. One is you give so much equity. Another one is investors expect a return.
Yes.
So they're gonna put a lot of pressure into you. So my recommendation to avoid all of that is you have an idea, sell it. Put a price to it and then sell it.
Test the market.
Test the market first. And then magpa-pre-order ka muna or pre-selling. Real estate developers do this all the time. They have the property, they have the plans, hindi pa nila ibubuo yan.
Yeah.
Diba? Pre-selling muna, mas mura.
Gauge the interest of the market.
Yeah, right? Now if nobody buys
Sell
their
the idea.
if nobody buys in their pre-selling, they don't build the property. The same should be true with business. So if you have an idea, I do this all the time, Canva. Make a poster on Canva, Photoshop kung magaling ka. Ako kasi hindi ako marunong mag-Photoshop.
So use this Canva.
Right?
Yes.
Canva, and then you put a price to it, and then Facebook.
So basically what you're saying is via digital or
Yeah.
social media testing.
Yeah. Kasi kung walang mamansin sa'yo na pre-order pa lang or pre-selling pa lang and nobody's buying it, building the product ain't going to make it better.
That's really very interesting, which sparks something in my brain right now. So for
Great.
example, I'm me, right? So on Facebook I have my friends. I don't necessarily have my customers. For example, digital nomad courses, because that's my forte, digital nomad.
Okay.
And then, but these are friends, and they probably have like corporate stuff. And then, do I just post on my timeline, or do you suggest posting somewhere else to test that market? Like,
So
not
what-
necessarily,
right.
like, you're testing,
Yeah.
but you're still in the wrong pool, kasi. So
Correct.
what do you do?
Chances are that thing that you're really interested in, first of all, don't get into anything you're not interested in. That's another mistake.
Yeah.
It's like some people, and uso ngayon to some people get into delivery app or service on demand,
Yeah.
right? Or
What's the trend?
or worse, fintech. And then you ask them, what's your experience in the financial industry?
Nothing.
Oh, wala.
Trend lang.
Right? Pero malaking pera to.
Uh-huh.
Right? Don't get into that. Kasi, business is hard. If you think work is hard, business is really hard. So you don't want to be stuck doing the hard things on something you're not interested in. That's number one. Number two, so if you do get into business in an area that you're interested in, 99% of the time, you're part of a Facebook group of that area you're interested in.
Yeah.
Post it there. So that's what I do because I'm very interested in entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
So I'm always part of Startup PH. I also started a new group called Startup PH
Yeah.
Training, right? So when I have an idea or if I have a product that I want to offer, it's there. I offer it there. There are other groups that I'm part of, but I'm not as active there. I think I should, but anyway, that's my main channel. Kasi the purpose lang naman is to pre-sell it, check for
Yeah.
interest, right? If nobody's minding you there, either you're talking to the wrong customer, or you might be talking to the right customer. They don't like the price, they don't like the features or something. So another thing that you want to do is you want to do problem interviews. And problem interviews essentially, and you can Google this, problem interview script. It's a 30-minute interview script that allows you to focus on the customer and their problems without pitching any solution. So you just understand them.
What's their pain points? Ganun.
Yeah. Kumaga sa design thinking, it's called empathy. empathy interview. So different, but it's the same thing. It's tell me about yourself. What are your challenges? What are your goals? What tell me more. And then once you have an understanding of their problems, now you can present solutions. Very often as well, we jump to solution, right? Without really understanding the problem. So what you can do is, especially if you're an employee already or you're working on something else, on your spare time, do problem interviews. And then when you have an understanding of the person and the people that you want to sell to and their problems, then doon ka na gumawa ngayon ng Canva poster, tapos i-post mo ngayon na are you the person that has this problem? Introducing blah 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 blah.
Will you buy this at this price point?
No, don't say that.
You don't say that.
Introducing product X.
Okay.
It's this much. Interested? Comment below. Ganun lang.
So,
Kasi pag
negative messaging po.
Again?
Do you why don't you say would you be interested in this price point? Why don't you say that? Why?
Well, that's actually what I was saying. I just rephrased what you said.
Parang negative yung
ibenta mo.
Okay.
Kung ibenta mo like there was a product. Okay. Don't say that there's no product.
Okay.
Right? Kasi you're checking for interest But I'm not saying at the same time, and this is important to everybody that's listening and watching, wag kayong manloko ng tao. Right? Right, wag kayong mag-scam. Pero once you get the interest of people, then you start building it. And then you can tell them naman, and you can respond and get into a personal conversation with them.
That's the beauty of Facebook groups anyway.
Yep. And also because you're at the very start. So what you want to do is really have an intimate understanding of the people. You're not selling to 1 million people. You're selling to a few, 5, 10 people. And then if these, let's say you talk to 10 people.
Really interested,
10 people, of the 10 people that you spoke to, 8 people sobrang binabato na yung pera sa'yo. Time to build it. Pero kung 10 taong kinausap mo, lahat sila nagsabi, okay lang, check ko, titingnan ko. Ako, my favorite excuse now, tatanungin ko yung asawa ko. Pero actually, no.
What's wrong with Filipinos is they don't know how to say no.
Yeah, Asians in general, Filipinos and Thai in particular, they will never say no. They will say, check ko.
So if you hear that, then that's a sign.
If you're not sure whether or not gusto nila yung produkto mo or not, they don't. You're looking for a response that just passionate. Oo, kailangan ko yan kasi problemado talaga ako ayoko na maulit tong problema. Yun na.
Super obvious reaction.
Yun na yung, yun na, then you have a product. And by the way, it's not easy to get there. Yun nga, so you need to keep trying and you need to keep iterating. So that's, sorry, I know you said just one tip, pero parang evolve into multiple.
This is really very interesting.
Right.
Yes. Especially for us who are starting out.
So take an experiments-based approach is what I recommend. So that's number 1, test different solutions. Depende rin. Like I have a friend who sells dog shampoo. Premium dog shampoo. So the regular price is around 150 per bar. Yung sa kanya 300. Right? So hindi siya pang masa. Di ba? Pero siya yung market niya. So kilala niya yung market. Initially, I said, you should do problem interviews. Sabi niya, hindi, kilala ko na Alam ko na kung sino sila Kaya ko na ibenta yan. So sabi ko, sige, go, benta mo yan. Right? Kasi ultimately, that's the So she sold it, and then, fortunately, maganda yung resulta. Nakabenta siya. Right? So, go lang. Kasi known problem, known solution. She knows the market as well. Now, if you're very unsure, let's say, I don't know, beauty salon or nail cutting, mani-pedi ng mga aso. For example, something really new, right? Then mang-interview ka muna. And then magbenta ka. So depending on your familiarity of the market, will decide on whether or not you should do a pre-sale or you should do a problem interview first.
It's very interesting.
But the last thing you want to do is build the solution without buyers.
Because then it's waste all your resources.
Yes.
All the time and effort.
And I don't know if you guys have felt this kasi naramdaman ko talaga to in my first startup. Sana magustuhan nila yung ginagawa namin.
It's kind of very uncertain when there's a more logical approach to it.
The workshop I'm running, the first time I ran it, I made a post on Startup PH and I said, I really think validation is important, I really think all founders should have it. I don't know yet if people will want to attend though.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do a workshop if enough people comment. By the way, first 5 people that comment get in for free. It's 500 per head. 30 comments. Ginawa ko na yung workshop pagkatapos.
Yeah, honest.
Prior to that post, wala akong deck, wala akong venue, wala akong anything except
no presentation yet.
wala.
That is awesome. Can I borrow that?
Right? Yeah, no, that's why. And I'm glad you're asking me this because everybody should do that before you build things.
Yeah.
Get people to actually say, sure, I'm gonna buy that. Right? And then you build it. Right? But again, wag kayong manloko.
Yeah.
Because then it will just gonna
Just
come back to you and
present.
bite you.
Oo, sinisira yung reputasyon mo, right?
Yeah.
So speaking of failing fast to
Mhm.
succeed fast, you know, what do you have? Any, what's deeper, meaning of why fail fast and
Of
how?
this process.
Yeah. So normally what happens is you make a Canva poster, for example, diba? And then Facebook or
You know what?
whatever.
Canva, please sponsor us. Joke.
Right, no. Actually, when I did the website web dev thing,
Yeah.
I didn't make a wala pa yatang Canva nun eh. Ang ginagawa ko, literally katabi na, nagiinuman kami ng kaibigan ko. And then, dude, gagawa ako ng mga websites. I'd want you to be my first customer. That's essentially the first pitch.
Yeah.
Right? If I spoke to 10 people and nobody said yes, baka hindi na ako nag-web dev. But fortunately, the first couple of people actually said yes. Sorry, but going back to yung fail fast to succeed faster, madalas ang mangyayari, you make a poster, walang mamamansin. And this has happened to me so many times as well. I'll make a poster, walang mamamansin. Hindi ko naantayin 1 week para magbago. Kinabukasan, titingnan ko yung, kasi kumaga, no feedback is feedback.
Yeah.
If nobody comments on your post, that means you're doing something wrong,
Yeah.
right? That's already feedback. So you adjust. And then you adjust. And then you adjust. Sometimes a few people will comment, or some people will like or heart your post.
Yeah.
And then what I'll do, I'll
Yeah,
DM them. I'll
yeah.
say, hey man, what did you like about the poster? And then, ganito, ganyan. And then I'll pitch to them. And then based on their reaction, I'll make a new poster or I'll make a new post. So that's and not just for startup businesses. You can do this when it comes to marketing. Or advertising or sales, kumaga may promo kayo for example, di ba? Then you do one promo, nobody minds it. Kinabukasan, palitan nyo na agad.
You're running feedback.
Di ba? Kasi,
Negative feedback.
right. So negative feedback, bad feedback is still good feedback.
Yeah.
Right. Because it guides you. At least, at the very worst, it tells you what not to do.
That's true.
At the very best, what do you call this? Actually, so if you're looking for feedback,
Yeah.
doing well is the worst place to get it. Kasi when you're doing well, you're like, yeah, I'm awesome, right? Wala ka talagang matututunan nun eh. But if you fail, like if nobody, let's say I do a workshop and then
Yes.
20 people dapat yung na-expect ko, 3 yung pumunta, mapapaisip ka talaga eh, ano pa nangyari? Ano pang ginawa kong
Where did I
mali?
go wrong?
Yeah.
How to fix it?
Right? And then you'll fix it. That happened to me before yung mga workshops ko, 4 hours on Saturday, the first workshop. Dami pumunta, mga 30. Ang dami nagsabi doon, I wish there was more time. So naisip ko,
How long was the workshop?
4 hours.
4 hours. So do you want more?
Oo.
Yeah.
So naisip ko, wow, okay, sige, gagawin kong 1,000 or 1,500 yung ticket, 8 hours. Right? Kasi they want more time eh.
Yeah.
After that, wala na nagpupuntahan.
Bakit kaya?
Turns out, one person said this, nobody wants to attend a workshop for 8 hours on a Saturday. Saturday, the last thing you been, di ba?
Yeah.
So I learned that the painful way. Because initially I thought it was the workshop. Pero kasi the few people that were attending the workshop, all positive feedback, all like, I love this part, I love that part, and then they still said that, I wish there was more time. It turns out, so people that are running workshops, if you get the feedback of, I wish there was more time, that's actually not negative feedback. That's I loved it so much, kaya ang bilis ng oras. That's what they're saying there. So, yeah.
So would you still recommend extending the time or not?
No.
Not.
What you do is you increase the price. That because you're doing really well.
Okay.
So now I'm running the workshop at 2,000 pesos for 4 hours, right? And so that was my last experiment. And fortunately, this April 27,
Just this year.
just like on Saturday,
Oh,
right? We started promoting it about 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, and then now we're full. 25
Very
people
nice.
coming in.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I
So
can
my
attend that too.
my main experiment was, are people willing to come at 2,000 pesos? Kasi I don't want to make it too high na yung mga first time founders naman, normally konti lang yung pera niyan eh, right? Pero may konting pera. At the same time, ako, I need to sustain myself.
Yes.
Right? So, where's that balance? 500 was too low eh.
Yeah.
Or 1,000 was too low. Just, there's venue, there's marketing, there's a lot of cost, there's my time. So 2,000 I think is the sweet spot. What we did was a maximum of 25 people. Initially my target was 20, but now it's 25. Of the 25, 5 of them get in for free. All they need to do is prove that they're hungry, they're first-time founders, and they're broke.
Okay.
Kasi if you can afford it, hindi
Yeah.
na kabibigyan ng libre.
Yeah.
Bakit? Diba?
Speaking of workshops, by the way, guys, we are going to be conducting an conference, the
Yes.
UN conference, meaning it's not that stodgy stiff
Yeah.
conference in Zambales this coming October, and Sir Carlo will be one of the speakers. We will have 6 of them. Yay!
Gonna be talking about.
Yes, entrepreneurship and learning and everything,
Mhm.
marketing, things like that.
A little
But-
bit of design as well.
Yes.
Design thinking,
But
yeah.
aside from the learning, there's also the event and the meet-up component, because that's what we do. That's what we are all about here at Entrepreneur Beach Club PH. So we want to connect same-minded people. So be there, join us, meet other startup founders,
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, connect. I don't know, make something awesome happen together. So at the beach and while surfing, why not? So
I think the best place to learn as well is in a place where it's relaxed.
yes.
And you enjoy the people that you're with. Sorry, that's the next best place to learn. The real best place to learn is out there in the field talking to
Yeah.
customers. Next is
Experience.
in the beach. Yeah. Then also, if you guys are joining, and please do join, we're gonna give you some real practical tips, and we're
Yes.
gonna make you
Definitely.
do, not just learn. And not, it's not design thinking; it's design doing.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be doing some practical
So speaking
activities.
of design thinking, what does it really mean?
So design thinking is actually not about the visual, make things pretty kind of thing. But what some really smart people realized a few decades ago is that the same tools, or how designers and how creatives think,
Yeah.
can be applied to create great products and can be applied to solve business problems. So for example, I'll give you as an example. Kunwari may nagpapagawa ng video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Diba? I'm gonna pay you 100,000 pesos. I want this amazing video to be produced. What are you gonna do first?
I'm gonna ask what's the project brief?
Exactly, right? You first ask, you first understand. So the first stage of design thinking is understand, empathize,
Yeah.
right? So if you're building a product, or if you're solving a business problem, the first step isn't to jump into solution mode, which a lot of people do, Like, alam ko na gagawin natin, gagawa tayo ng form, gagawa tayo ng survey, gagawa tayo ng whatever platform that can automate,
Let's make a movie.
Let's make a movie, right?
Yeah.
So before we do that, design thinking prescribes, let's understand the people, let's empathize, and then only then will we actually define the challenge. So for example, sabi ko sa'yo, I'm gonna give you 100,000 to produce, diba? To produce a video. So you ask me questions, you ask me questions, you ask me questions, and then based on my answers, you'll realize, oh, what you want me to do is a movie based on your wife and whatever, di ba? Kung ano man yung kunwento sa'yo. Tapos, okay, great. And then, the next step is, once you've been able to define the challenge, the next step is to come up with a lot of ideas. So, pwedeng video, pwedeng cartoon,
Animation.
pwedeng animation, right? So you come up with all these potential ideas about how to solve the challenge I gave you. That's the third step, ideate. The next step is prototype. Bago natin i-shoot yung video, and video people do this all the time.
Yeah.
Gawa muna tayo storyboard.
Yeah, that's right.
That's your prototype.
Yeah.
Same with products, same with services. You can prototype anything. So something I love doing in our workshops is teaching participants how to create prototypes.
Yeah, that's right.
Paper. Kasi, and it's very much aligned to the fail fast to succeed faster mentality. Kasi gawa ka ng paper prototype kung ayaw ko siya, or in your case, gawa ka ng storyboard kung hindi ko siya nagustuhan,
No.
okay lang. Oo, gawa kang bago.
Hindi pa na sa video talaga.
Also,
Revise,
also because when you create a prototype, it allows me to give you feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Versus kung kinuwento mo lang ng kinuwento, kung ano man nag-iisip mo, ako, okay lang.
Or
Diba?
refine the process.
Right, but if you give me a storyboard, I'll go like, this scene, yeah, that scene, no. Right? I want my wife to be there all the time.
Have more time to revise and do take out the bad stuff.
So the last step is testing, and that's when you show the prototype and you get the feedback. And then based on that test, kung successful yung test, baka kailangan lang i-adjust yung prototype. Or hindi masyadong successful, hindi masyadong nagustuhan, balik tayo sa ideate. Or
So you go back to step number.
depends on the results of the test. It doesn't necessarily mean after testing you go back to empathizing to round one. Design thinking, although it's presented linear, empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. Although it's presented that way, it doesn't necessarily mean you should always step 1, 2, 3, 4,
So
5.
you can go back to.
Just go back to step 3 or.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then sometimes baka may ibigay na ako sa'yo.
Yeah.
I-testing muna natin to. For example, it's an existing business and they want to grow it. All right, sige, let's see what the current situation is. So that's essentially a test. And then after that, let's interview people, and so design thinking is a mindset that prescribes let's start by understanding. And then rapidly go from understanding to test.
That's really cool. So if you guys want to learn more about that,
Either check out the training or
Startup
workshops.
PH training.
Yeah, Startup PH training. Check that out, or join us in Zambales this October.
Yep.
A lot of, if you get the VIP tickets, by the way, you will have dinner with the speakers. So
Cool.
you will have plenty of opportunities to ask Carlo and the other speakers your specific questions, specific to your business.
There's more.
Business
ideas.
Marunong din ako sumayaw.
Alright, so thank you so much. I wish there was more time.
Thank you.
One more.
All right.
Give one powerful tip, before we end this podcast session.
All right.
Those who want to start up and grow their business.
Yeah.
Or especially in the energy department, if you fail a lot, you get demoralized. What do you do?
Yeah.
Oh, if you fail,
Drink
Um,
booze first.
sorry, what?
Drink lots of booze first.
What what I like to do is
We have
We
our
have
audience.
actually,
huge crew actually here.
well, I'll give
A lot of it.
I'll give something new because we've already talked about failing fast and begin by understanding. I have this thing called 4 founder mindsets. Actually, number 1 is find customers first before building, and we've discussed that already. The second one is that's something we haven't discussed yet, is founders and innovators. You don't have plans, like don't make a business plan. What you need to do is identify your assumptions. Identify the riskiest assumption, then test that. Then move to the next riskiest. Right? So test assumptions. That's how. That's essentially how you want to de-risk. Right? Later on, pag mga 1 year, 2 years, 3 years old na yung business mo, then you can make plans because you have historical data. But essentially, a business plan is a list of assumptions that you will. A business plan is a list of activities that you will follow, assuming everything happens according to plan.
Yeah.
But in business, entrepreneurship, and innovation, nothing happens according to plan.
I know.
Right. So test your assumption. Identify your assumptions and then test it. that's my final
So
advice.
Awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Thank
you,
so
thank you.
much for having the time for us for this
Yes.
podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
So,
I hope I wasn't too talkative.
No, we learned a lot actually.
Where can
Alright.
we keep updated?
Sure, Startup PH training. There's a Facebook page. There's a Facebook group. We're active in both, or you can just email me carlopvalencia@gmail.com.
And your future projects?
I got
Yeah.
so May 25 is the next public workshop. We're also launching a coaching program, essentially 6 weeks, 20 grand, 25. We haven't finalized the price,
Yeah.
but it's one team and me. 6 sessions, 2 hours each. So ask me anything, and I'll guide you essentially all the way from idea, getting to path to sustainability. So within 6 weeks.
Awesome. All right, thank you so much, Sir Carlo. And for those who are listening or watching this live session, you can also follow Entrepreneur Beach Club on our social media channels. That's Entrepreneur Beach Club PH TV on YouTube and Entrepreneur Beach Club PH on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
All right.
Alright, so
Right.
hope to see you guys on the next podcast.
Yes.
Cheers.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
thank you.
and good
Leave some
day.
comments. Yeah.